Ladies and gentlemen, this is Reaction. This is the Terrifying Truth About Chimps by the channel Casual Geographic. Yeah, I just saw in my notification feed that Casual Geographic uploaded a new video, and it starts with terrifying truth. So I'm like, yeah, that's about right. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna end my day with some terrifying animal facts, and it's about chimps. So let's watch it. I did quite a few Casual Geographic videos, so yeah, you just check out the end cards. I guess YouTube will recommend you there, or check out the link in the description. Yeah, let's watch it.
One of the world's scariest animals just got a whole lot scarier, and Planet of the Apes is slowly becoming non-fiction. Because apparently chimpanzees are out here murking gorillas. Scientists in 2021 witnessed a troop of chimpanzees basically jumping a family of gorillas. And when I say gang, we're talking about almost 30 chimps pressing a family of 5. Keep in mind, a silverback can weigh up to 400 pounds and could probably bench press your car. And according to witnesses, the silverback was eating chimps left and right like they were paper mache. But eventually the chimps overwhelmed the bigger silverback and even kidnapped a baby gorilla. I'm not going to tell you exactly what they did, but that family of 5 became a party of 4. And it wasn't even the last time, because later that year, scientists watched the same group of chimpanzees do the same exact thing. Square up with a family of gorillas, kidnapped a baby, and erase its name from the gorilla's census. And it's not like we didn't know chimps were about that. They often hunt bush babies and vervet monkeys, and we've even seen them use weapons like spears to do it. But it's one thing to hunt something that weighs like 5 Skittles. Going gorillas is another tier of Black Air Force activity, which is why I'd rather be locked in a room with a jaguar than a chimp. Because at least a jaguar gonna make it quick. That's exactly right. Chimpanzees have been known to hunt using spears.
Why show that photo? Seriously, man. I mean, certain animals are really fucked up, right? The river otters are one of them, right? This is just horrible all around. Basically, they go after gorillas. Who'd have thought chimps going after gorillas? But yeah, numbers, right? They realize, oh, wait a minute, I don't care how big they are, how big muscles that the gorilla has. We have numbers. We are like fucking hundreds here.
They do it is not pretty. So what you gotta remember is these sociopaths share about 98% of their DNA with us, and they have more in common with humans than just thumbs. They're part of the special class of animals that can create and use tools, and chimps are probably the best at it. They'll take twigs, stick them in mounds, and literally go fishing for termites. They'll use stones as hammers to crack open nuts, and it's actually a lot harder than it looks. They'll use leaves as sponges to drink water, sticks to steal honey from bees. Some have even been seen making and using stone flakes, which are really close to what early humans used to make back in the day. But yeah, chimps also use spears by breaking off a stick, sharpening one end with their teeth, and then shoving it into the hollow part of a tree trunk. Cause they know that's where bush babies sleep. Scientists watched them stab bush babies and force them out of their hiding spot in trees, where they proceeded to tear them apart and eat them alive. So they don't actually yeet the spear the way a lot of people probably thought, but they're definitely too smart for everyone else's good. Also, fun fact, out of all the animals I've talked about, a chimp was probably the closest to ending my entire way of life. But that's a story for another video. Alright, so here's a story of how a chimpanzee really ended my entire way of life. So this was in Senegal, that little country right there. I was visiting for a couple months, and me and some family decided to go to a zoo that, looking back, was way too rundown to be called an actual zoo. The only thing separating the chimps from the general public were prison bars that were wide enough to stick your hand through. And before you even think it, no, I did not stick my hand into the chimp cage. I was 7, but I wasn't stupid. Now, if you wanted to see stupid, you'd have to look at the people around us. But some of them thought it'd be funny to throw things inside the chimp enclosure. Not to like hurt it, but I guess to scare it. Either way, nobody in that zoo was winning an award. Especially when someone started tossing rocks in there. Yeah, let the stupidity marinate. I just remember watching the chimpanzee just sit there and take it. Until the people ran out of rocks. It wasn't until the chimpanzee started picking the rocks up that the people realized just what they did. They just gave an animal with thumbs and no regard for anything human ammo. So yeah, as you'd expect, the chimp started fastballing the stones back at the crowd, and all we could do was run and take cover. And I vividly remember crouching behind a bench, and when I got up, a rock flew past not more than 4 inches past my right eye. Oh. I was really just bad luck away from either doing this video with a glass eye or not doing this video at all. Look, you can say size matters all you want, but 4 inches made a difference that day. This picture might look cute, but it's actually one of the most disturbing.
Man, it's so fucked up, right? I mean, people. First of all, why the fuck would you want to throw stone at an animal? I never understand that. Like, that's an animal. But man, leave it be. What the fuck is wrong with you? If that's an animal inside the cage, I mean, come on. It's already doing too much for you. It's giving you entertainment, right? It's depressing, giving you entertainment. Now you're gonna throw stones at them, and they're like, "Yeah, look at that, stupid chimp. I'm gonna throw a stone at you." Now, wait a minute, and then realize chimp just smiling at, picking up the stone. Like, you know what's the difference between me and you? I'll throw things much better than you, and that's it. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how many people probably would have gotten hurt there, but yeah, kids would have been the biggest issue, right? I mean, whenever somebody do shit like this, there's always some news like kids got hurt. Like, what the fuck? You did some stupidity and your kids got hurt.
Things you'll ever see. I'm about to tell you one of the most messed up stories you've never heard of. So this guy, Dr. Kellogg, had the question I'm sure all of us have had at least once. What would happen if you raised a human without teaching it a language or having it around any other humans? Like a nature versus nurture kind of thing. It's one thing to think it, it's another to be on CPS's watch list. So this guy had a human son, Donald, that he raised with a female chimpanzee he adopted named Gua. So he treated 10-month-old Donald and 7-month-old Gua the same in ways that would have had CPS, PETA, and the Geneva Convention pulling up. The experiment was weird. He would tap on both of their heads with a spoon just to hear the differences in the sound of their skulls. He would purposely make loud noises and provoke them just to see who would react first.
What the fuck?
At one point, he even spun Donald around on a high chair until he started crying. It got really dark really fast, especially when the human Donald started acting like his surrogate chimp sister, walking on all fours, being overly aggressive, and even biting people. It's a shame the Pikachu meme didn't exist back then. Donald would bark like Gua when he wanted food and refused to walk on 2 feet even though he could. Eventually, the man who somehow graduated with a doctorate in psychology from Columbia realized that he was ruining his son. So he called the experiment off. The chimpanzee that they treated like a daughter and was part of their family, yeah, they packed her up and sent her away to be part of another experiment, where she was unalived by pneumonia a few months later. As for Donald, he grew to be an adult and eventually became a doctor, until he deleted himself at the age of 42. And to add insult to whatever seasoned hell this was supposed to be, if you go over to Dr. Kellogg's Wikipedia, he was described as a guy who had no tolerance for those who were unethical. Moral of this video, Thanos should start a GoFundMe. I'm starting to think he was onto something. Some stories just make...
Man, that guy is a fucking... What's wrong with you, man? I hate... Whenever some Hollywood movie shows that like some scientist who has doctorate basically disregards for any ethics just for the science experiment, I'm like, man, fuck you. What's wrong with you? And seeing actual people, real stories of people being like that, like, what's wrong with you? You gonna do that to your son? Your experiments matter more to you than your family? Right? I love science, right? I understand people like Albert Einstein loved science, but he would never do that shit, right? Newton loved science. You can't name 2 bigger scientists than Einstein and Newton, right? They loved science. They would never do that shit. When you start doing unethical things in name of science, that's the time when I get pissed off. Like, what's wrong with you, right? At that point, you have a certain problem in your head, right? You should check that out. You should go to a psychologist yourself, right? And check that shit out. Like, what's wrong with you? I mean, that kid, I mean, yeah, he offed himself, you know, did the experiments that he did when he was a kid, fucked him up at the level that, you know, he offed himself. Was he, you know, was he always somewhat, you know, problematic in his head because of that traumatic experience, right? Did he just fucked him up forever because of that experience? Because I think it would have, right? If you treat a kid like a chimp, right, a monkey, he acts like a monkey. Doesn't matter if you call off that experiment and just go back to, you know, nurturing the kid like normal. Your psyche is gonna remember that even when you grow up, right? All the fucked up shit that people have in their head usually starts at their childhood. So, you know, that's just horrible hearing that account. What's wrong with that guy, man?
Make you want to go off the grid and avoid humanity completely. And while that may not be an option for you, with NordVPN, your internet can. Yeah, not my best transition. I'll be better. NordVPN creates encrypted tunnels for your data and protects your identity by hiding your IP address. Like a snow leopard in the mountains, you can observe the world without having to worry about being tracked yourself. I'm not going to tell you where he is. If you haven't seen him by now, just know you've already died twice. NordVPN allows you to connect to thousands of different servers across 60 different countries. If you want to watch SpongeBob on Netflix but can't because America loves to gatekeep, just know Australia Netflix will gladly accept you. With NordVPN, you get all the perks of living in the land down under without also having to pay taxes to kangaroos. And without having to check your snakes for toilets. You have any idea how dangerous toilets are? Also, Nord servers are super fast, so you never have to feel like a turtle. As in, you never have to feel like you're giving up speed for security. And with NordVPN's threat protection, you can enjoy your online experience with whatever that may be. I really don't judge. Without also having to worry about ads, trackers, or malware. So to protect your data and get the most out of your streaming service, make sure you go to nordvpn.com/casualgeographic to score a huge discount available only for a limited time. And with Nord's money back guarantee, it's basically risk-free. You want to know what's not risk-free? Having a chimpanzee as a pet. Oh, trust me, this is going somewhere. After this ad, though. Here's why you should never give a chimpanzee Xanax. Sounds like common sense, but apparently it's not that common. Travis was a 13-year-old, 200-pound walking life lesson that lived with his owners in Stamford, Connecticut. He spent his entire life around people and was basically treated as one of them. He would do things like use the family computer, watch baseball on TV. He knew how to open doors with keys, and sometimes he'd drink wine out of a glass after a long day. Everyone knew him, and he would even greet police officers whenever he would see them around in the neighborhood. I want you to remember that for later. Travis even drove a car, and he did it more than once. It's like if this dude was an actual member of society. Now, what would happen in 2009 wasn't out of nowhere. The red flags were there. He once climbed out of his owner's car and held up traffic for hours looking for a man that threw an empty bottle at the car. And there was one incident where Travis bit a woman's hand and tried to drag her into a car. But none of that was as bad as '09. I'm not going to make any jokes because this was honestly one of the most traumatizing things I've ever seen. Because one day in 2009, Travis left the house with his owner's keys, and the owner and her friend Charlotte Nash tried to get him back. The only problem was Nash used his Tickle Me Elmo to try to bribe him back into the house. And seeing someone else hold his Elmo pissed Travis all the way off. Travis brutally mauled Nash, tearing out her face and limbs and not even stopping when his owner hit him over the head with a shovel. And as the attack got worse, his owner had no choice but to literally stab him in the back. And a literal butcher knife to the back only made Travis angrier. Eventually police were called. Yeah, the same police from earlier. It took multiple bullets just to get Travis to stand down. Travis limped back to the house, went to his cage, and passed away. The victim survived the attack, but Travis had ripped over 90% of her face off, like lips, eyes, nose, they were all gone. And I am telling you right now, do not Google that if you have a weak stomach. Those pictures personally f***ed me up for days when I first saw it. At the time, we didn't really know what set Travis off. Some sources said it was because Charlotte Nash was holding his Elmo. Others say it was because Nash had a different hairstyle that day and that freaked him out. But a toxicology report confirmed that Travis the chimpanzee had Xanax-laced tea the day of the attack. Travis's owner obviously got sued, but then she died of an aneurysm just a year later. It was just bad for everyone involved. But at the end of the day, the lesson here is the chimpanzee never went crazy. The chimp just went chimp. This man was attacked by an animal with a name that might just get me cancelled. This is the work of Trombiculidae. But they're also known as, guidelines you better not homie, chiggers. A word that sounds like it has the potential to offend multiple ethnicities. Not to be confused with a species of parasitic flea known as jiggers. And honestly, I don't know.
Alright, first of all, that monkey thing, right? How the fuck Xanax does that, right? Isn't Xanax supposed to calm you down, right? I mean, I've taken, clopin or whatever you call that in US, right? Clonazepam, which is kind of similar to that. It's supposed to calm you down. How the fuck Xanax make you volatile and angry? I don't understand that part. Xanax is supposed to, basically chill you out overall. So, chimp going crazy like that because of Xanax? That's weird. And damn, that is just horrible all around. Like, man, people need to realize. I mean, look, this just makes me think that all the people who have pets, right, seriously needs to understand that there is a responsibility with it and don't just, wing it, right? Lots of people have this problem with their dogs, cats, and different type of pets. They don't realize what you're supposed to give them and not, right? I mean, obviously, they can accidentally eat certain stuff, but seriously, you have to be careful with that. But Xanax doing that, really?
What sounds worse? Chiggers, or chiggas, which is apparently less offensive, is a type of mite found all throughout the world, but the most infamous ones are found in the southeastern US, Midwest, and Mexico. I low-key forgot the warning, so if you don't like bugs, this might not be the video for you. Cause chiggas don't really bite, they'll actually just burrow themselves into your skin, make a little hole, and then spit out enzymes that break down skin cells. Which is exactly where the swelling and irritation comes from. The worst part is, you usually don't start itching until after the larvae falls off you. It's like you're not allowed to suffer until they're done with you. And once they are, they fall to the ground where they end up becoming their harmless adult forms. And normally the bumps they leave heal on their own. Also, the chiggas in North America usually don't carry disease, they're just really annoying to be around. But yeah, I can't tell you who named them, but I can tell you they did not have a good home life. And I feel like someone owes me reparations for making me say it. So somebody sent me this, and I actually think there's a right answer here, but first, I'm actually curious.
In order to 37 minutes, you have to survive 37 minutes in a one-bedroom apartment, no windows or doors. Which one of these guys? Let me think. That's a jaguar, right? So fuck that. Komodo dragon, no. Gorilla, I don't think so. Maybe rhino, right? Because it has no windows or nothing. It's dark. A rhino probably won't be able to see that I'm there. Rhinos usually, if they see you provoking them, that's when they attack you, right? I'm pretty sure they're not going to attack you anyway. Gorilla could go either way. Gorillas can be peaceful, usually is peaceful, right? But I don't know, maybe no doors, no windows, things might make them volatile, right? So that's not good to be around them at that time. No, upper two is just like never, regardless of which places, they will kill you. So maybe gorilla, but I think rhino. But then again, I don't know much about rhinos. But I think, rhino, if there is no window, no nothing, rhino wouldn't see where I am and I can easily avoid it, I guess. Depends on how big the room is.
Which one would you choose? Like, which one do you think you'd have the best shot with? Off rip, we can go ahead and eliminate the rhino. for a couple reasons. Rhinos have really bad eyesight and even worse anxiety. Mostly because they have to share a zip code with animals that would literally eat them balls first. Life is multiple choice.
Isn't that the point? That's what I said, right? I mean, they basically can't see much, so they wouldn't know that you're there since it's dark. But yeah, they would have massive anxiety. That's why they fucking charge anything that moves. But if you don't move, right, stand still in some corner, wouldn't you be able to survive it? I don't know.
Rhinos consistently choose battery. So if this anxiety-riddled warhorse has a panic attack near you, you will be a chalk outline. The Komodo's an instant game over too. Because Komodos don't flatline their prey with bacteria the way we thought they did. This homicide gecko is actually venomous. And they've been known to dig out human graves and eat the corpses, so don't think you can't get meal prep too. One bite and it's credits, and there's nowhere in the apartment you can go where this 10-foot leather assault weapon can't get to you. Now the jaguar is actually an interesting one. Jaguar attacks on people are really rare, they're usually in self-defense. So you'd actually have a better chance of surviving in a room with a jaguar as long as you don't provoke it or do anything to make him think you're food.
Yeah, jaguars attacks are rare because jaguars are not stupid, but if you trap a jaguar in a room with you, they will kill you. Come on. I mean, really? There is no windows, there's nothing. They will panic like, what the fuck is happening? I'm gonna kill this guy. He is probably responsible for this.
However, jags are solitary, and in a one-bedroom apartment, if that jaguar feels like you're in its space, it could be lights out. Which is why your best shot is actually with the gorilla. They're natural pacifists that won't waste the calories attacking something that they don't view as an immediate threat to them. So as long as you don't look him in the eye, or smile at him unless you're trying to be Harambe's roommate, your best chance at winning and, living is with the gorilla.
I don't know, man. Look, it says no windows, no doors, no windows, right? Is it said no doors? The point is, it says no windows or doors, right? So it's a pitch black cabin in a way, right? Which has no light. Maybe you have lights or whatever. Doesn't matter. No windows would panic a gorilla, wouldn't it? Gorillas are apes. They are not some stupid creature. They can think themselves, right? And they see that there is no window and they would panic. So I think for me it's rhino. Even though rhino can charge you, for that rhino needs to detect you, right? And rhino having bad eyesights, you can easily avoid rhino in one bedroom apartment, right? If you're clever enough. Every other option to me feels like they could be clever enough to kill you. While rhino, you can actually evade it, I guess.
Best chance at winning and living is with the gorilla. I want to show y'all something. So I made a video on this, and a lot of people are commenting how they choose the Komodo, since all they'd have to do is climb a counter, just wait there for 37 minutes.
Komodo is fucking deadly, man. There's a reason games like Far Cry 3 have that as a main issue on the road. And in Far Cry 3, we're supposed to be badass. Komodo dragons are not some stupid animal, right? Climbing them back, I'm pretty sure they can fucking, wiggle around and just throw you back, right? They're not slow. Right? They are fucking fast in a way compared to their size.
Minutes. Some even said they can manhandle the leather assault weapon if they needed to. I'm not going to talk about how Komodos can be nearly 10 feet long. I'm not going to mention the fact that young Komodos can climb trees. And I'm certainly not going to acknowledge the fact that out of all the animals here, Komodos are the only ones that will actively eat humans. Nah, I'm not going to talk about any of that. Instead, I'm going to show you this.
Sumo wrestling, but up to the next level.
No further comment.
Yes, no further comment. Even I knew that, right? Even I knew fucking that. The Komodo, come on, really? You're going to choose Komodo? Komodos are much faster for, if you compare them with crocodiles or something. Obviously, Komodos are not big for crocodiles, right? Crocodiles are much bigger. But Komodos are big enough to fuck up a human, badly injure human in a matter of seconds. And they are fast enough for that. Komodo dragons never. Out of all the four, I think Komodo dragon would be the least of them. Because of their aggressiveness, volatileness, right? Their venom, thing. And they actually eat humans, basically. So that's fucked up. Jaguar is the deadliest predator there can be. But yeah, like he said, Jaguar might let you go, right? But Jaguar, they value personal space, so I don't know. Yeah, gorilla is what Casual Geographic says is the best bet. But I think, gorilla is smart enough to panic. That why is there no door, why is there no room, why is this only one guy here with me? I think gorillas would go out of hand, right? That's why whenever somebody falls into gorilla pit, people panic like, what is gorilla going to do? Is gorilla going to panic and kill the person? So for me, rhino, even though it feels like, what the fuck, why are you choosing rhino? Rhino is rhino. But yeah, you could evade rhino. If rhino can't see you, what's rhino going to charge, right? So I don't know. Yeah, people, that was the terrifying truth about chimps. This was a good video all around, right? Terrifying terrifying things, but there was some good topics here and there, like the last thing. That was fun to talk about. But yeah. Alright, people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.